Curling now enters the Sports Weekend spotlight.
1963, when they took the Brier to Brandon.
Hi, everybody. I'm Don Whitman with Don Duguid, two-time world champion.
Reveille will take the game.
Not a question about it. Right on the nose. It never wavers.
A little bit of curling history for you.
High drama, high intensity.
Hi again, curling fans.
Welcome to the Brier and the Brand Center. Look who's practicing behind us.
It is practice time for the Northwest Territories and Manitoba team Dunstone ice level cam here today.
We're going fancy today. They get 45 minutes each, it's both teams, which seems like a lot of time to me. But they get to practice today because they don't play till tonight. Right.
How dare you wear a backwards hat?
I know. You know what? Northern Ontario really made this vogue, but I got to tell you, I wore it on the coach's bench at the Scotties, but was told it was a violation. You had to wear it this way. So,
well, we are not in the practice of policing how you wear your hat at that curling show.
As long as you have a hat on.
As long as you have a hat. Hats off to all the curlers who have taken part in this year's Brier. Some dramatic storylines, no doubt, Colleen.
So many. I mean, you were saying last night what a dream this is for the organizing committee to have what's happened, the different storylines from Canada's Gushue to Team Saskatchewan.
Hometown.
And one of our favorites, Northwest Territories.
Well, and that is going to be our starting point for this show. It was a dramatic scene. Of course, everybody's still talking about the fact that PEI and Northwest Territories in that showdown, you know, somebody made a good point, Call, about the fact that that was essentially a tiebreaker game.
It really was.
Because the winner was into the playoffs, goes to the extra end. Tyler Smith, Prince Edward Island, what a run. Couldn't make the shot.
He had a great run, and he had the win in his hand, too.
Yeah.
He'll be back. I mean, he's only 25 years old. He's an amazing thrower. His team is great. If you check out their stats, they're awesome.
Yes.
And I love this kind of story. The same way Brad Jacobs always coming out of Northern Ontario and Brad always coming out of Newfoundland and Labrador, building every single year. And let's not forget about the Northern Ontario team, Trevor Bonneau.
They were right there.
So good.
And I think the point we want to make today, curling fans, and we're going to get into it, we have a lot to talk about, is that you have a Northwest Territories team call, battling it out, earning their spot. Jamie Koe in his 17th Brier, just his second playoff appearance ever. He's here. We want the best teams at the Brier.
Right.
And yet in the top six, you have a Northwest Territories team.
Which is wonderful. And
right.
It and the Smith story and the Northern Ontario story, it shows we put so much credibility and weight on the seeding and the rankings. And what's happening in the ranking division in many ways is that it's the same teams getting into the Grand Slams, accumulating the points.
Right.
The other teams are working just as hard and traveling to Timbuktu in order to get small points because it doesn't have the depth of field.
Of course.
And yet look at somebody like Kevin Koe.
Right.
Oh, it was hard to watch Kevin because he's so great, so magnificent, and he was just hard to find a shot.
But look at this. I mean, there is a Koe in the playoff,
Amazing.
Just probably not the Koe you would expect. But look at that. There's Fred and Linda and Kevin. What an emotional scene it was. Fred in tears, Jamie in tears, and we caught up with him after that tremendous win. Listen to this because everybody is talking about the raw and vulnerable post-game interview after clinching a playoff spot. Take a look.
I'm going to cry.
Well, Jamie, did you think it might be over after that 8 ends and you gave up the 3?
Yeah. Obviously, that wasn't ideal. We had a couple shots to get out of it, didn't. So the momentum was all in their favor. But I took a page out of my brother's playbook just to try to go to 10 and make sure you try to get your deuce, maybe get a chance for 3. I got the 2, and then you never know. Make them throw. So we made him throw a tough shot, and he just missed it. Right, feel for him. They played a great game, great week. But just pretty incredible moment.
Talk about the emotions you're feeling right now.
Oh, it was just wild. Our fans came down to see us right after, right? So everyone's crying and got me going and everything. Dad's crying, and I haven't seen Mom yet. She's kind of hiding in the background there somewhere. But my wife had to go home early this week, so I'm missing her right now. But I wish she was here for that moment. But sure, she saw it on TV with the kids, hopefully. So.
What does it mean to you to skip the team to the playoffs again?
Oh. Yeah, it's just wild, right? Like, I mean, you looked at the pools when we got here, right? And you think, can you actually make the playoffs here? And no, we actually did it, right? It's kind of a surreal moment, right? So we got it done, and we had a bad day yesterday, but we talked about, we're one win away and a little bit of help, and it just all came together.
You put your hand over your mouth when it was over. What was going through?
Well, I mean, you want to win, but you want to win on a made shot, right? It's tough to see your opponent, and I know Tyler really well, have to miss. So, they're going through the opposite emotions. So I really, really feel for them on their end, right? So it's just tough as being a competitor, know exactly what they're going through, right? So, I mean, you've got to take it. Somebody's got to lose the game, and it's going to go that way. But I mean, you'd rather win a game like that on a made shot for sure.
Jamie, what does it mean to you to know that your team, your story, you are celebrated by so many curling fans across the country? They're loving the Northwest Territories at this year's Brier and now into the playoffs.
It's just surreal, man. Like, comments we're getting around fans from here, right? Let alone from the Northwest Territories and everywhere. People are rooting for us. We're one of the underdogs, and it's just surreal the amount of support we're getting. And can't wait to look at my phone. It's probably blowing up pretty good here, but we just got to enjoy this moment and see what happens when the dust settles and who we play tomorrow.
His phone was blowing up. Kudos to the Koe family for all they've done for the sport of curling. From Kevin and the legacy he's built as a 4-time Brier champ, and then to Carrie and Jamie playing out of the Northwest Territories. Their expenses to travel the Spiel are high, and they have always represented Northwest Territories and given hope to other curlers in the North that they can do this.
It's so important. It's bigger than the game, and the fact that they are into the playoffs just a second time in Brier history, sensational. You said it. We've talked about it. Dream scenario. So the loser of Saskatchewan and Bottcher will play Northwest Territories tonight. I'm told ticket sales are through the roof. This place is going to be rocking because Saskatchewan is on a roll.
Apologize for not having whiteboards, because honestly, to describe the playoffs, because today's really sort of play-in day in order to get to championship weekend of the Page playoff system.
So let's get into it. We should break it down real quick. So at 1 p.m. local, you're going to have Saskatchewan versus Bottcher, Gushue versus
Brad and Brad.
Yeah, Carruthers. Jacobs. What are we calling this?
Well, funny, they kept with the Carruthers name on Manitoba.
Right.
And yet Brad calls the game and throws last rock. So for me, old school, to me, it's Jacobs, but Carruthers, Jacobs/Carruthers.
And then, of course, if you drop into that 3 versus 4 qualifying game, those teams, if they want to be Brier champions, they have to win 4 consecutive do-or-die games.
And that 1-2 game that we're going to see later on this afternoon, that's a toughie. You might remember Carrie Anderson was in the 1-2 game, lost that, then it had come back out as a loser and play the next game against the number 3 team.
Right.
There's a lot at stake. It is a pressure-filled game, this 1-2 game today. You don't want to lose it.
You don't.
You want to get right into that 1-2 game and have 2 cracks at getting into the Brier final.
Well, listen, if I'm just going to throw this out there, if Saskatchewan and Canada were to win today and play that 1 versus 2 game here tomorrow night.
How loud will it be in this place? Because it is great watching the Saskatchewan fans. They're nervous. It's been 1980 since Rick Folk last one. To do it here and to watch the team okay, we're winning this game. They get louder and we think we got it.
Yes.
But they don't really explode till the last rock is thrown. and I love how they clap. I know it's distracting for the sweepers, but when that last draw is coming down, it's fun to watch.
It's going to be electric here today.
It'll be a little like when you watch Gushue win in St. John's.
I said that yesterday in my CBC radio interviews. I think this might be as close as we're going to get to St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador in 2017 with the raucous atmosphere. That's what this is going to be like, because you nailed it, Cole. We are cautious fans.
Saskatchewanites are?
Yeah, Saskatchewanians.
You appreciate good curling.
We do. So let's listen to Mike McEwen, who, of course, finished 7-1. Who could have imagined that? He's just brimming with confidence. And so let's listen to Mike after his win over Quebec to get that first place spot.
The playoffs. Did your team do that today?
Yeah, I thought Quebec played extremely well. We got fortunate, and they had a double for 2 to take back the lead, and that's what I wanted, though. I wanted them to play us hard, and they did. We we played some really precise shots, especially late in the game, and that was perfect. Just I wanted to be pushed. Like today's a day I didn't want to take off, and just to be pushed like that, and we thought they would play well. That's the best thing for us right now at this stage, because we got a little bit of a rest here. We're not playing tonight, so just I wanted to feel like we had to really earn it today.
And now flip the page to the playoffs. You got a buzz in the building this afternoon. You heard the crowd roaring. Do you revel in these moments? Is this what it's all about now?
Yeah, this is fun. I'm excited for Friday. And we put ourselves in a great position. 2 shots at it. What else can you ask for to get into the Final Four? So I'm just excited to see what the building looks like tomorrow. I think it's going to feel as good as it did opening night or better. I'm excited for this weekend.
You going to be watching tonight?
Yeah, of course. There's a few interesting games tonight. So, and unfortunately, I think there's a possibility somebody with a really good record is not going to make it through. So it's going to be interesting tonight. I think always love to see what the ice is doing in the evening when the building's been warmed up all day. There's lots of crowds, so always trying to learn something. But yeah, we'll enjoy a nice dinner, get a little bit of rest, but we'll be keeping an eye on things.
Mike, how much? Waiting to see who your opponent is,
For me, it's not a big deal because I don't look. My wife tries to say, oh, well, if you go here and do this and that, you might line up. Stop. Just don't even talk to me. I'll just worry about the next game, and that's Quebec. This was last night or this morning. She was talking to me. I was like, Dawn, just I don't. My brain doesn't need to think about those things. Just who's next. And today it was Quebec, so I'm not even. I don't know. I don't think about that. I know some athletes, even on my own team, probably their brains operate in a much different way. I just love finding out like last minute. Okay, this is. I don't know. I just. Not something. I'm not a draw watcher of we do this, we're line up here. So I don't know. It just puts me at ease just to think about one thing at a time and not get too far ahead of myself.
So would you say your preparation doesn't really change then, no matter who you're going to face?
No, absolutely not. Other than, you have a team meeting before the game, there might be some tendencies in players that we would go up against. There's obviously some amazing players that have really, really great strengths. And maybe if you can design a game plan to try to push to something that they're not as good at. Usually these players at this point in the game are good at everything, but some of them excel at certain types of shots more than others, and you might change your game plan slightly. But really right now I feel like we just got to keep within ourselves and doing our thing for the most part. It's we're not overhauling the wheel the night before the playoffs, right?
Mike, how much does this tournament change now that we're in playoffs, just atmosphere-wise and everything?
It's such an interesting question. I actually felt like opening weekend felt like playoffs. I mean, I was spent after Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so it feels like we're now stepping into that arena, that environment again. So it's kind of interesting in that way. I don't think that's always happened for Brier for me, but I feel like that felt like playoffs opening weekend. So it's not unfamiliar territory, I think, at least in my mind.
How much do you pull on previous experience being in the playoffs every year into a Brier playoffs? Do you pull some from every year?
I think.
Are they good?
Which one did you go for? Honestly, this team actually has quite a bit of experience, and I think that bodes well. Colton obviously lots of experience. Myself, being in some of these playoff experiences in the Brier and in the Olympic trials, and even Kevin and Dan are under the radar. They're quite wise, and they're really grounded players. So I think despite some of the resumes that we could go up against, ours is really solid. We'll be settled. We'll be ready to handle the moment. So I'm not too worried about that. We've got a really good locker room with guys.
Just as a pro athlete, how much do you relish these opportunities to go up against the best in the world now?
That's, it's funny. sometimes you're out on tour and you're traveling all over the country, and all of a sudden you're in Lloyd and it's -40, and you're like, what am I doing here? But it's all part of the journey to get here. And I honestly, I love playing against the best. That's what gets me fired up the most. So it's just, I know I have to do all those other things that, the grassroots, the medium levels to get to the highest level. I have to do that stuff. And so as an athlete, especially where I am at in my career, I honestly, this is the most excited that I get to play, and I think it motivates and drives me.
How hungry are you to make a deep playoff run this year?
I don't know, as hungry as it gets. I don't know. I'm just thinking about those guys eating the ribs over there. But no, I can't imagine being any hungrier than I am. I got a lot to play for. I got 2 little girls that love to inspire. Great family support, great sponsors of our team that allow us to actually go out and do this. And then by extension, my own teammates and their support networks. Like we just have a ton to play for. And it's not just ourselves. Like we're playing for a lot of people behind the scenes too. So, I can't imagine anybody being hungrier than they already are at this moment.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
To different provinces, and now finally Saskatchewan. And this team, especially Colton Flash, is playing really well. And there's a Brier champ.
Right.
We forget that he's got the experience of a big game.
Yes.
And the Twins. And they're all so positive.
Well, Mike has talked about that, Cole. Mike has talked about the fact that he has never been on a team that has allowed him to be who he is, unapologetically.
Mm-hmm.
And you know this, and we know this in sport, when you can show up in the field to play as all of you.
Right. You're going to not worry about who you are.
Exactly.
Because this is me.
Yeah.
We all know that Mike sometimes can get real hard on himself, like Cody almost.
Yeah.
But here, he's finally, I remember the first game watching him here, and the crowd went excited. He was like, oh,
right.
That's for us.
Right.
This
right.
I am Team Saskatchewan. It was nice to see it happening. And everybody's talking about 1980, Rick Folk. It's a long time.
It's a long time. Mike McEwen was born in 1980, the last time Saskatchewan won the Brier. And tomorrow actually marks exactly 44 years to the day that Rick Folk won. So there's some stars aligning here in Saskatchewan.
He's paid his dues, that's for sure.
Practice continues here as Team Northwest Territories, our ice cam
I
update.
love having an ice cam. This feels exciting. 45-minute practice today for Northwest Territories and Team Manitoba with Dunstone beside them because they don't play till tonight.
Exactly.
Big games.
Big games, and of course, Brad Gushue is no stranger to big games. Colleen, he has that look.
He does.
He has that swagger. This team has won 4 straight games since losing to the Northwest Territories. This is a time of the Brier that Brad Gushue plays his best.
He knows how to win this thing, doesn't he?
Yes.
I mean, he's got the blueprint for it. He knows, it's not how you start the week, it's how you finish. Sure. He always builds like this. And when they're on fire, as they have been in many games, except a couple of losses, did they lose 2? It's early in the morning. When they're on fire, is there a better team? And statistically, these guys are knocking it out of the park. They're just looking real strong.
They are looking real strong. They're going to be taking on Carruthers. There was some conversation about that game last night between Bottcher and Carruthers.
About
the fact that whoever won that game, as a gift, you were going to play Gushue.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Who would you rather play? Frankly, all the both Saskatchewan's great and Gushue's great.
Yeah.
Either of them. You almost still always have to say we're playing Team X.
Sure.
And you're playing the Rocks.
Right.
And you understand what the other team strategy that you're playing is, but you're playing your game, and try to pretend paper bags over their heads and not be intimidated by the fact that you're playing Brad Gushue.
And I think that's a thing that Team Gushue does well. They don't care who they're playing. If they play 90+%, they're going to win the game, quite frankly. So we talked to Brad after his win, which was weird. It was a must-win game over Slachinski to get in the playoffs. Going into that draw, that final draw in Pool B, he could have placed as high as second or been out of the playoffs.
Been out, gone, just like that.
That would have been wild. The defending champion's gone, but Gushue prevails, cruising to victory. He talked about sort of that scenario going into it and now into the playoffs.
Much better now than what we were at the start of the week. I think we're playing well. We're getting a good read on the ice. We've been charting these rocks like crazy all week and getting a better feel for those as well. I think we're playing well. I think we're peaking at the right time. It's odd to have a game where it's do or die, and then if you win, you get another life. So, that's the position we're in right now with finishing second. So, quite happy. I'm assuming we're second, are we? Okay.
Not sure if you heard it, Brad, but a fan yelled at you. It's playoff time, Brad. Do you feel this is when you take it to the next level? Because that's what curling fans are saying, that Brad Gushue, at this point of the Brier, always seems to hit it.
Yeah, this was a playoff game for us. If we win, we're still alive. If we lose, we're going home. So, I felt it this morning. I had a little bit more butterflies. I wasn't able to eat as much. It's the typical stuff that I feel when it comes around playoffs, and that's why I play all year. Like I really enjoy that and get excited to have that feeling, and I certainly had it today.
What's the hardest thing about being Team Gushue in the playoffs when they're at the majors?
Everybody wants to beat us, so that's the hardest thing. I think we were talking about it before the game. I think Aaron's team went 8-0 in the draw of the button, and they were kind of middle of the pack, and we were 4-4, and we were first. So everybody's going to bring their best against you when you wear the maple leaf. And while it's a complete honor, it's also a challenge because everybody wants to beat you, and we certainly feel that. And I think come playoff time, it's going to be no different. Whoever makes the playoffs is going to want to beat us when they're playing us, and we're going to want to do the same to them.
Brad, what's this team doing well when you're playing where the percentages are where they are, like today and last game? You said it was the best game of the season.
Yeah.
What changes?
Yeah, you know what? It's communication. It's really how we're throwing it consistent instead of just kind of trying to create shots. Like we're actually throwing it proper, so we get good reads on the rocks, we get good reads on the paths and the speed, and then from that we draw everything. Like we get a better feel for our judge and draw weight. I get a better feel for how to call the line, and when you do that, you start making shots. So it really, for us, that's the first domino is if we could start throwing it true and getting good reads, then we can build up everything around that.
Good.
Thanks,
Okay.
Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks. Thank you.
Up close and personal there with the Zoom.
We're so raw.
Well,
here.
we wanted to show that laser focus that Brad Gushue has at this point. Listen, Jeff Walker, EJ Harnden, if they're rolling, this team's everybody rolls.
But they know,
yeah.
again, they have. It's so comfortable when you're trying to win number 6.
Right.
Which sounds
You're
odd.
playing with house money.
And that,
yes.
and the fact that you're so confident that you've done it before.
Right.
Whereas Mike McEwen said, "Do I have this to do this?"
Well, Brad said it. When you're wearing the maple leaf, you would know it. Mm-hmm. You have the target on your back.
Right.
Did you feel that?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But that's where you start the attitude of we're playing Team X.
But you also have a swagger, right? Because you're
you walk in like you own the place. And I remember watching Schmerler's team in their glory days,
right.
walking in line. You went, oh, look,
right.
It's
almost like you have a 2-point lead going into the game.
Marilyn Bodo did that well too.
Yeah. Well, and of course, the winner here gets to represent Canada at the World Championships. And of course, we have breaking news. Now official that Moose Jaw, just down the highway, 45 minutes, going to be hosting the 2025 Men's World Curling Championship. A lot of great curling in this province.
No kidding. And they support curling, and the volunteers. We've been lucky enough to be driven by the
great volunteers.
And all of them have great stories. Many of them don't even curl, but this is a volunteer province.
Sure.
So Moose Jaw will be great.
Yeah.
And I can go to the spa while I'm there.
We will be going to the spa. And of course, it's a pivotal world championship because it'll qualify teams for the 2026 Olympics.
Right. But doesn't even this year's world championship, you have to finish
points.
Points
Canada's this year, and then next year, I think we'll sort it all out. Somebody who knows the Olympic experience, of course, is Brad Jacobs, representing Canada to gold in 2014. And I thought he was retired.
We thought, but you know what? Did he say the word retired? We had to really dig deep into our archives.
Well, and credit to you for asking the tough questions. But we've had Brad Jacobs on this show many times. Looking so cool. So we're going to run the tape. We kept the receipts.
Right.
And here's the journey of Brad Jacobs and his trip to Gone. He's back. Take a look.
Yeah.
Remember when you had a drink in the hand and you were on a beach somewhere and you were on that curling show?
Yeah, I do remember that.
So retired.
I was never retired. Everybody keeps saying that.
We're going to roll the video evidence from March of last year, right, Dev? That you were so retired. So done. So done.
I mean, I almost introduced you as Tom Brady. Let's take a look.
But I always told my guys over the course of the last number of years that it was hard for me to see past 2022. I really couldn't. And I don't really, I mean, I know why now. It's clear to me that I think I've made a really good decision because I am happy with it. But yeah, I just wanted to give it everything I had for our current team up till 2022. And I've done that. I feel like I've done that, and we've done that as a team, and I'm ready to kind of just take a break. That's all. And I'm actually really, like I said, excited to kind of sit back and watch some curling, see how much I truly do love this sport, and whether I have that hunger and that desire to want to come back, or if it's something that, maybe is going to be in the rearview mirror for me. I really don't know, but time will tell.
Papa Smurf. Now Mexico Cups. What happened? Hasn't even been a year.
What happened?
He's back.
He's back.
I'm not back. I mean, I'm a little bit back. I'm not back.
But
I believe you used the word retired with us.
I never did.
No, are you sure?
You guys did.
Did we? Really?
Yeah, not me.
It's true. He didn't say it, but he's a little bit back. Do you like that? This is his definition of a little bit back.
A little bit back.
On my way
He's
to trying to
full on
and
first place in Pool A. He's so lovely.
And he's a phenomenal player. So good that he never retired, even though maybe it was our words.
And listen, the way Reid Carruthers and Brad Jacobs communicate, the way they talk to each other, the way they respect each other, they've figured it out.
Yeah, they have.
And
they did make a flip mid-season,
exactly,
so that Reid had started skipping, and then to get better results, stronger results, or to fit a different what they were looking for. They knew something was missing when you make a change.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
So now Jacobs is at the tee head and throwing last rocks where he belongs.
And we talked to Reid Carruthers as well. So let's hear from Reid.
Reid, the importance of beating the number one ranked team in the country in your final round robin game before going to the playoffs.
Confidence booster for sure. But yeah, we got a long ways to go, but this is a great performance for our team. Obviously a confidence booster, but I know we have a little bit of a tough competition going forward. We're playing Gushue tomorrow, so it'll be a battle.
Have you been able to watch much of Gushue's game this week? I guess, how do you feel they're playing at this point?
Yeah, it looks like they're playing great now. Start of the week, they looked a little bit off, kind of like our team, but their last couple games that have been on TV, they look like they're playing really sharp. So, it's going to be a great battle.
The advantage of being the top seed?
Yeah, hammer. I guess I think we had rocks as well, so that's nice. But 10 end games is a little different than 8. It's a true test, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Do you hit a reset button a little bit, Reid, at this point? Like it's a grind?
Yeah, for sure.
Now it's a whole different
I feel like I hit the reset button a few times already, Devin. Yeah, it's
Me too.
Been good. Yeah, it's been good.
Do you feel like you guys are firing on all cylinders?
That was the closest we have to firing on all cylinders so far this week for our team. I feel like there's still a little bit higher ceiling, but that was pretty darn solid.
And it was the first time they've played Bottcher this year.
That's
team
right.
has never played Bottcher, so it's a big moment for them to kind of go up against them. Speaking of Bottcher.
So they lose that game. They're the second seed. They're up against Mike McEwen in Saskatchewan, Ben Hebert in his home province, playing the home team. It's going to be quite a scene here. He has family and friends. I can't imagine what that feeling would be like when you wake up in your hometown. And
must feel so good.
Right?
Must feel so good, even if you don't have the green jacket on. It's
exactly.
in your heart.
It's in your heart. We should talk about Bottcher's draws. He's such an elite hitter.
Yeah.
But he has missed some pivotal draws, including one against Northern Ontario that led
was
to a
crucial.
loss. Yeah.
Yeah, it led to a steal. And but Bottcher, I mean, Bottcher's Bottcher. He's phenomenal. Yeah, he's a great hitter, but he's made so many big draws.
Right.
And when you have sweepers like he's got, you're never going to throw it heavy.
Right.
Right. But
Right.
But there were a couple that were probably 10 feet off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, with a huge crowd in here, with the building getting warmer, with it warming up outside as we go to the ice level and get a look at the teams practicing, Northwest Territories and Dunstone on the ice for about 15 more minutes here. The team that could really pick up on the ice early in these afternoon games, that might just lead to victory.
Well, and that makes the difference of great skips and everybody who's watching the paths and keeping their eye on the clock of what the speed is. The team that does pick that up is always the winner.
Absolutely. I caught up with Bottcher as well as other media. He was all business after that loss last night. Let's take a listen.
Played game must be tough to lose the game when you're playing pretty well.
Oh, absolutely. But those guys played really well too. So it was a battle out there, and certainly in the second half, I think they got the better of us.
Ninth end, their rock placement I thought was excellent. That was turning point. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. We were playing most of that end, looking pretty good for a force, and Brad came up with 2 perfect shots on his.
How do you feel about your team heading into the playoffs?
We're playing well. We made that 1-2 game, which I think is so important. And now it's just, I think whoever gets hot on the final weekend is going to walk away from here a champion. And I don't see a reason why that can't be us.
Were you thinking at all about where you finished and who you might match up against in that 1-2 qualifying game, Brendan?
No, in all honesty. So winning that game was going to help us along the road, whether it was Hammer or Rocks or into the playoffs. So we were playing to win that game, and whatever happens, happens.
Saskatchewan next, if my math is right. What have you seen from that group this week?
Well, they're playing well, and they're playing with a pile of confidence, and they're playing at home, which is always a good feeling, and they're going to be tough to beat.
He mentioned that not giving Hammer. You know, that's what that
Huge.
winning that game against Jacobs Carruthers would have given. So it is.
Can you explain that, because I always mess this up? Records, Hammer, and color of rocks.
Right. Which order?
No, how is that determined? If you have a straight up better record,
you could get everything.
You get Rocks and Hammer.
Yeah.
So McEwen 7-1, Bottcher 6-2. He'll get Rocks and choice, or Hammer and choice of Rocks.
Or for sure Hammer, because it does change all the time. But as a rule, it's Hammer and Rock choice.
And then if they're tied,
then it becomes one or the other.
One or the other,
Two,
right?
yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll clarify that.
Or do we need to?
Well, Hammer's important.
Hammer is very important. Yeah. All right. So
Dunstone is on the ice right here. If we take a look at this, they're throwing a lot of draws.
Get out of the way.
So there we go. We take a look at this. That's sheet B. Is that sheet B? Sheet C?
B or C.
Whatever
It's
is.
too early, and I haven't had enough coffee. And
Finally, we're seeing eye to eye on things here.
I love that.
Have you gotten taller?
I grew overnight. I'm on a box, okay? It's about this tall.
You're on your soapbox.
Let me just show you the real. I didn't know you were
She's
so
actually
tall.
standing on a curling rock box. They lock them up and they ship them away. These rocks will probably head to Sydney, Nova Scotia, which you and I will be going.
I can't wait to get to
Women's
the
Worlds in Cape Breton. It's going to be a party. Matt Dunstone has been in a must-win scenario for about 3 games. So they've been in playoff mode, and there's something to be said about a team that starts believing.
And responds to the pressure.
And they believe. And so listen to Maddie talk about that.
11th, I'll work again.
So still alive. How does it feel, especially the grind of the last 3 games, to have to, must-win situations?
Yeah, great. We knew what we were up against, and obviously we're up for the challenge. It was a quick turnaround in the Bottcher game. We knew, it was must-win from here on out. They were going to be headed home early. So, proud of the group. Did what we had to do, but we still got a lot of work to do here.
Are you where you want to be at this point?
Still alive. As long as we're alive, that's where we want to be. As long as we're still playing, when we're going, we're as good as anybody. So, we're totally fine with where we are.
Is that extra end win yesterday, was that a bit of a turning point for your group?
I would say so. We're headed home if we lose that one. So, I think you know, to be able to make that shot in 10 with, you know, a little bit of time left, and, you know, find a way to pull out that game, you know, just help this team believe that, you know, maybe that was the point in the week where things are going to start turning for us.
But still some work to get sort of into the page part of the playoff, I guess.
Yeah, plenty of work to do. I think it's one win. I think it's one win from the 3-4 game, whatever it is. You know, so I mean, that's okay. We're playing well. We're gonna get you know, a big break here, which is nice, and you know, some practice time in the morning, and you know, just gonna go out and give her hell. You know, I like what I'm seeing with this team. Where our mentality's at, you know, how we're throwing the rock, everything's really good. So really like where we're at.
You've had a few experiences now, Matt, at the Brier. What can you lean on at this point of it in these big moments?
There's no surprises anymore. You know, kind of been through it all. Between London last year, the bubble. I mean, first Brier here in Regina. I mean, seeing it all. So I mean, there's no surprises. You got to play your best. You got to take advantage of the slim opportunities that are going to come your way, because they're not going to come often. And you know, whoever takes advantage of those opportunities is going to win this week.
Thank you. The theme song, Staying Alive. I love that. Hard lessons from him losing the final last year to Gushue. That was a big last rock moment for Gushue.
And I think we all have come to know the emotion and intensity that Matt Dunstone brings to the ice. There have been so many epic visuals of his hand in his head and wincing and just how badly he wants it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be really interested, Cole, if he can play with control, emotion.
I think he can. I mean, he's got, as a coach, a sports psychologist,
Right.
and Adam Kingsbury
Right.
guiding the way and making sure he stays even, as opposed to when he was younger. He's still young, but the roller coaster of emotions. Speaking of young, I played against
Thank you.
Matt's grandparents.
You played against Matt's?
I did.
What?
I did. Jim and Carol. Canadian mixed in St. John's, Newfoundland. It was fun.
What year?
I think they won. I think it was like 1980 or something crazy. When
Well,
Rick Folk last one,
40
we're back to that magical number.
That's a long time ago. Quick word on waiting a full day to play an elimination game. What did you do?
Oh, you would come curl. I would watch the movie Gladiator. Watch it 1,000 times.
This is actually true.
It is true. You would maybe go to the gym, do a little yoga. You can kill a day.
Okay.
You learn how to kill a day.
But you're there's nerves.
Oh, what Brad said earlier about the belly, that
Yeah.
you can't quite eat. I'd have to eat at midnight. I'd go and get a massive meal there, knowing, okay, at least I know if I can't eat tomorrow,
Right.
I'm going to have some nutrients,
Right.
right? Because the butterflies are so real and they're so beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point in your career where butterflies don't happen anymore, and you're like, oh, please, I want some.
Right. I
I'm
want to
not ready
feel.
to
I
play.
want to feel
I'm
something
not ready.
again.
I want to feel. And then that goes, and that's a sign you should really take your hat off and retire.
I love your backwards hat. You
Thank
know,
you.
Again, let me
Oh,
just.
listen, he did a great story on women's coaching
Yes.
at the Brier and Scotties and the lack of representation in the female club.
Well, and we should make the point. Happy International Women's Day. My mom, my sister, my nieces are all on the road from Saskatoon to come
visit.
here today. To you,
Because it's your
Paul,
dad's birthday.
It's my dad's birthday. Everything is happening. But to all the women, to you, Cole, you've been such a trailblazer. Of course, it was in Regina in 1982 that you won your first Scotties.
Here.
Right here.
And there were cows out back and horses. And I thought,
She's gone on and on on about how much it smelled like
horse
horse here.
Oh, horse poopy or cow.
Flies on the ice.
We're in farming country.
Only in Saskatchewan. We're having a lot of fun. We hope you're having a lot of fun, curling fans.
We hope you have a coffee.
Well, and last night in the press conference, there was some fun. They were taking the gloves off, literally. Take a look at this. Brad Jacobs, mid-post-game press conference.
His ex-teammate.
And his ex-teammate
Kennedy.
lurking in the background.
Waiting
Mark
for the moment.
Kennedy.
Here's some fun.
Watch this.
What's the importance? You know what? We kind of looked at that game as a freebie. We were already in the playoffs, and we really decided to come out there and just play loose and play free. And said to the guys after the game, that felt easy, and that's a good sign. I think that was the best team game that we've put together so far at the Brier. So that makes me, excited and happy, and I'm really proud of the guys for how they came out and performed tonight. And can't wait to take on the championship round tomorrow.
Did that feel like more like a playoff game? This close-knit battle, back and forth, kind of low scoring?
Did it feel like a playoff game? I would say yes. And actually, I said to Rob Meakin, and I also said to Paul Webster, my guys, during that game, Thursday night at the Brier last round robin game, getting to play, like you said, the number 1 ranked team in Canada in front of a great crowd. How much fun is this? That was a lot of fun. The crowd was great. It was a pretty near flawless game by both teams. I think it was entertaining, and yeah, I'm proud of my teammates.
Brad versus Brad.
Yeah.
There have been epic battles over the years. Brad, what do you make of this one?
What do I make of this one? Well, it looks like, from what I've seen so far, when I've tuned in a little bit on TV, that they're really starting to find their form now. And, once again, going up against Brad, we know that we'll have to bring our A game, we'll have to bring our A+ game, our absolute best, in order to be successful in that game. So, wow, that was a good shot. Is that mine?
Let's make sure who that was on the record.
If it was anybody else. No, but they're a great team, and it should be once again a really good back and forth battle. A grind for both teams is what I'm expecting tomorrow, and some excitement.
Well, you know what I love about curlier interviews? They're so thoughtful.
That is real.
Yeah, it's not hockey cliches.
No.
It's so honest and reflective, and they give so much. And we're so thankful for that. Don't ever change.
No, and what other sport would you have that sort of interaction and that fun? And it all comes from a place of endearment and respect.
Yeah. You mean when Mark
threw the glove at him?
It was fun.
It's so fun.
Yeah, nice.
We're having fun.
Are we having fun? We are. Listen, here's like a live shot.
Well, they're getting the ice ready. Props to the ice crew here in Regina, Greg Owasco, and the entire team. They literally work around the clock to keep these ice conditions.
He was here at 6 a.m. this morning. I had to go bug him for some duct tape so that we could have our setup just so. Shout out to Nova Scotia Team Matt Manuel, 4-4.
Yes.
Second Brier. They're on the up and up.
Proud mom.
I am a proud mom. I feel like I'm on the Fred Koe and Brad Gushue's dad's path of being at a million.
Well, you were
I hope.
cheering in the press box. You were cheering in the press box.
Just once, I forgot where I was. Okay?
She forgot where she was on the press box, and she literally said, "Good shot, Luke."
I mean, come on. I played against the Dunstone, the grandparents, Jim and Carol Dunstone, okay? So I have my moments where I forget where I'm at, okay? We all do.
So they're leaving the ice right now.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll... I don't know. Maybe Jamie Koe already left, but of course they'll wait. They'll wait. The losers of the games this afternoon. It's all starting to heat up.
Championship weekend, we love
Championship weekend, we love it. But before we say goodbye, a massive shout out to Canada's wheelchair curling team, who earlier today in Pyeongchang, at the same venue you and I were in 2018, defeating Sweden to punch a ticket into the gold medal game against Norway. There's Ina Forrest celebrating. There's John Thurston, we've had on the show, Mark Idison.
He was supposed to take us water skiing.
He will.
Next summer.
And he may be leading this team to a gold medal at the World Championship. So we're wishing the Canadians all of our congratulations and good luck against Norway. That game goes at 9 p.m. Eastern back here in Canada tonight. So it'll be wrapping up around midnight. We'll keep you posted on that. But good luck to Canada. They've done so well.
Yeah, no kidding. Moose Jaw, the world. Moose Jaw. Mentioned that.
World. I think we've
covered
that's
it all.
A show.
Let's go get a coffee.
We're going to get a coffee. We're getting set for these big games at the Brier. And as always, buckle up.
Thanks for being with us here on That Curling Show.
And we're back. We'll have a post-game show from the ice.
Oh, right.
After the Brier Championship. We'll take you right into the winner's circle. Enjoy it, curling fans.
Yeah. See you next time. Thanks, producer Soph.
Thank you.
Curling now enters the Sports Weekend Spotlight.